I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
Oops, the podcast here. I'm Francis. He's Giulio.
Yes.
Oh, who's excited?
Yes.
It's time. Every week we do this. This is our podcast.
This is great, dude. I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
I didn't sleep much last night, but it was one of those I didn't sleep enough where I was so energetic that I woke up energetic too.
Oh, good for you. The old carryover effect.
Do you know about that?
I used to get that on Christmas.
Oh. Same, dude.
Those are the, yeah, for sure.
If I just go to sleep now, I'll wake up and Santa will be here already.
That's right. That's right. That is a day when you go to bed with energy. Even if you sleep poorly, you wake up with energy.
Yes, exactly.
I've been going to bed quite early.
How's that?
Last couple nights. It's pretty cool. And I also got a humidifier.
Ah.
And I crank it all the way up and I wake up with mist on my face.
You just wake up damp.
Like I'm sleeping in a covered hut in the rainforest.
You're just sleeping in a backyard.
And you know what else? My morning alarm is birds chirping. But not crows. More like, birds of paradise. Yes, exactly. So I truly feel like I'm in a rainforest. And all I want next is some local guy, some native dude to bring me a cup of mate or something.
I like that.
Have you ever had mate?
No. Is it like some jungle
some
drink?
kind of tea. It's really weird. It takes some getting used to. I think it's called mate. Yeah.
Mate.
They have it in South America. It's where it's big.
Have you been to South America?
I've not. I'd like to. I'd like to go to Patagonia because I like their fleeces so much.
I would love to do that too. That's not actually why.
That's one of the reasons. I'm a big fan of the brand. I would like to wear Patagonia in its birthplace.
That's a fucking Instagram and a half.
And I also know that that's not where Patagonia comes from. But I know that's
where does it come from?
Well, I think the brand was named for that region.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
Because that region is
inspired by,
synonymous with hiking and outdoor activity and stuff.
Looks gorgeous.
It looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
I would like to go there.
Dude, I got drunk and a friend of mine was like, who I was like kind of friends with, but not like really close with. She's like, oh, my parents moved to Brazil. You should come. And I was like, okay. And I just booked a flight to Brazil drunk and then just went. And it was like for 4 days. It was like the most random trip with these really long layovers. So I actually only got to be in Brazil for 2 nights and spent full days in Colombia and Peru where I left the airport. And I went and stayed with her parents in Brazil. And now we're like better friends because of it. She's like, oh, you're actually coming? I was like, well, it's non-refundable. But yeah, I highly recommend doing that, dude. It's enough time.
Sometime when you're younger, the old impulsive flight purchase when you're drunk has opened up many experiences to me that I would not have had otherwise.
It's fantastic.
Acting on a whim is a good thing. I would tell people to follow their nose on that.
Where'd you end up going?
One time I went to Sweden, to Stockholm.
Wonderful city.
Have I told you about this?
No, I love Stockholm.
I met a girl at a nightclub. She was a Swedish girl at a nightclub in New York. And there's this thing at some nightclubs in New York where they need to present their club as if it is constantly stocked full of beautiful young women. And so these nightclubs, a lot of them are owned. There are, 3 or 4 nightclubs that, like the Tao Group. Have you ever heard of that in New York City? So they own I think they own Marquee, the Tao nightclub, maybe One Oak or Avenue, whatever.
The Dream.
Yeah, so they own multiple nightclubs. And what they'll do, they're big corporations, and they will rent what are called model houses.
Yeah,
model apartments, where in New York City, they'll get an apartment that has 5 bedrooms, and they'll put 2 little
bunk beds or whatever.
Bunk beds in each room, and 10, 22-year-old, kind of fake models from Sweden and Norway and wherever else will come and live in New York City for 6-month stints.
Or real models.
Yeah, but
the same model for both models.
But they'll have 7,000 Instagram followers.
Right.
They're not booking the cover of magazines and.
Yeah, but these are like fashion models. Like they're not like thoughts.
No, they're not thoughts.
Thought farms, dude.
They're
Imagine
not.
that. They just feed them milk.
Yeah, but
Sorry,
they're like AA baseball models.
Okay. Well, okay.
Do you know what I mean?
I've met like good real models.
So then those
in the
might
same
be
system.
higher caliber.
Maybe they have a better.
Dude, if you're
setup.
a real model and you're a successful model in New York, you're not living in a bunk bed with 9 other women.
But the non like top, but when you got to start somewhere.
Those are accommodations for women that are like making shoelaces in factories in 1930.
No, it's true.
You know what I mean?
But like
spinstresses. Like
pre-industrial revolution.
Their hands are fast. They're really fast
and hard.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, whatever. I get what you're saying. And then they make them go to all these appearances, right? They make them go to hang out at clubs at night to pay their rent.
In exchange for free living and room and board, they are forced to go to nightclubs 7 nights a week.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's 6 nights a week, and they have to stay until 2:30 in the morning.
Crazy.
They are required to be at the nightclub until 2:30 in the morning, pretending to have a good time.
It's crazy,
and dude, the crazy part is, they'll get a table for them, right? So they drink for free, but they don't.
And they have
end
a
up
dinner
drinking
before
much.
usually too.
Yeah,
which is ironic.
Yeah, they'll go to dinner
don't
at
eat
some fucking steakhouse.
No, but they have it there
meat.
too. What's that club that's on the second floor in Meatpacking?
Oh, Catch.
Yes, Catch. There's
Yeah,
always
they'll
like
go to Catch
model
dinner.
dinners,
right,
and then or whatever.
These places want it to seem like there are always beautiful women there,
Right.
but you get to know them, and none of them are actually having a good time. They're actually pretty miserable.
They hate it, which is why, in fact, maybe it's not that it's because they're hot that they're rude. It's because they have been enslaved into hanging at clubs
By DJs.
By
Enslaved
DJs.
by DJs. Yes. Exactly right. Dude, so I met this one girl. I think her name was Matja. Like Matje. Excuse me. Tickle in my throat. And we kind of like actually had a nice time hanging out, bopping around. One of my buddies used to, go to these nightclubs all the time. We probably went on a Tuesday.
Right. Dude, remember those days?
It's just insane.
And hammered on Tuesday.
Yeah. And so we got to know each other, exchanged info, linked up on WhatsApp. All these foreigners love that.
They love it.
And we corresponded for a week or two, nothing too serious. And she kind of got like deported.
Oh, wow.
Because
Like
her visa ran out and she didn't have enough modeling work to support a visa sponsorship. So she went back to Stockholm, where now she was a New York 9 and a Stockholm 7.
Right. Now she's just like a municipal worker.
She started working at a flower shop.
That's crazy, man.
She's selling orchids.
That's crazy.
For like minimum wage.
Which is probably really high. Though.
How humbling is that?
That is crazy, man.
You got to go back to, she's working on a construction site or some shit.
Dude, it's crazy. Totally.
Yeah.
In Norway, same thing. I remember like being in 7-Eleven and the lady at 7-Eleven was just unbelievably hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Garbage men are wearing ties. And they're, they're the men too, admittedly, are the most attractive people in the world. So
they're good looking.
So I go, I tell her, it was like on a Tuesday, and I said, hey, I kind of want to come to Stockholm. Would you want to hang out? She was like, yeah, LOL. Like, yeah, right. As if that'll ever happen. And then I looked up on like Facebook to see if there were any comedy shows in Stockholm, and I found a couple. There's one at this pub, this British pub called Big Ben.
I've done that.
How good is that
It's
show?
a great show.
It was one of the best shows ever.
I did it the beginning or last summer or last.
That's incredible.
Yeah, last summer. It's amazing.
It's technically an open mic, but like 150 people come to watch it.
And they listen to every word and syllable, and they're the best audiences on the
Best
planet.
audience ever. And half the comedians performed in Swedish and half performed in English. And the audience had no problem adjusting to the 2 different languages. And then I got another show at this place called Mafia.
I don't know that one.
It was like a pop-up show, but it was pretty good.
Dope.
And so with 2 spots, I was like, fuck it. It's a business trip. And I bought my flights on Norwegian Air. I took the red eye over on a Thursday, arrived Friday morning. It was January.
Oh, man.
The coldest place I've been.
Freezing.
It was freezing.
Crazy.
Because it's an archipelago, the city.
Right.
So the wind just rips off
the
all
river
the
and, like,
canals
the sea or
and
whatever,
the fuck that is.
Yeah.
And everything's exposed. But I rented this adorable Airbnb apartment or flat, as they always call it, in the heart of like the nightclub area.
Oh, nice.
And my goal on Friday, I had this whole game plan, right? I was going to do my spots on Friday and Saturday, but both nights I wanted to go out. But my goal was to make enough friends on the Saturday that I could throw a traditional Swedish pregame.
What does that entail?
Okay, so summers before, a couple summers before, I was in Norway with a bunch of my buddies going through Europe. And we had a friend who had a sister who was Norwegian and lived in Oslo.
Gotcha.
And we went to her flat for a pregame. And what it entails is that everything is so expensive in Norway and Sweden.
Right.
That
alcohol's crazy
people
expensive.
won't go to a bar to pregame. They'll just go
They do it at their house.
buy
Yeah.
at the grocery store. They'll buy a couple bottles of vodka and some like Snapple juice, peach flavored juice, and just crush vodka and Snapple and then go out to the nightclub or whatever.
Sounds like what every 23-year-old girl who just graduated from the University of Wisconsin is doing in New York.
Right.
We're having a PG.
Yeah. But except those are usually like Coke parties in
Right.
New York.
Yeah. There's definitely people doing coke in the like the fake 2-bedroom.
Yeah, in Murray Hill.
So you can just fully hear.
Yeah, sliding
wall.
door, you
Yeah.
know, that doesn't, the partition doesn't go all the way to the ceiling. So if you bang someone while your buddy's playing video games in the living room, he just hears every noise.
Don't go in that closet. That's Gabe's room. That's so funny,
dude. So I had this dream, and one of the things that I loved so much about the pregame I'd seen was that everyone takes their shoes off before they come into the
I
apartment.
like that.
They're crazy about it. It's a completely strict rule because one of my friends walked in, sat down on the couch, had his shoes on, and everyone was uncomfortable. And finally the host came over and was like, listen, you don't wear your shoes when you're in our apartment here. You take off at the door. And he was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. So from that point forward, and we found out that was a serious custom, right? You remove your shoes. So my idea was to have a shoeless pregame at my Airbnb flat with a bunch of people. Now, keep in mind,
That's a great idea.
I didn't know anybody except this one girl who I vaguely had met at a nightclub once. I think we kissed at the end
This
of
is
the night.
not Mattia?
No, Mattia was there.
This is Mattia,
But
okay.
she wasn't getting off flower duty until like 7 p.m.
I gotcha.
Long work days.
Gotcha.
So she couldn't, she had her hands full of rose thorns and couldn't meet up. But on the Friday, I went to a food court in a mall. Now that sounds like it's full of Panda Expresses, and it's not. It was a posh, really nice, gorgeous, like salad bars, great food, really nice food court in a gorgeous mall. And I sat down at a table connected to the Wi-Fi at 10 in the morning and ordered lattes throughout the day. The coffee was so good, and just kind of people watched and wrote. And this was the precursor to my blogging days. I was writing about my experiences, and I would just email back what I had written to a group email chat of my friends, and
Nice.
they loved this. And I met a whole bunch of the wait staff for these various restaurants that were kind of walking around bringing drinks to people, and made enough friends that I told everyone I met to come to my pregame that night. I was like, I'm having a pregame, come to my pregame. Dude, no joke, 40 people showed up that night. And it was like a group of six
great, dude.
who didn't know another group of six, who didn't
Right.
know the next group of four, and everyone's coming in, everyone's taking their shoes off. It was the best. They were playing Swedish House Mafia on the smart TV. Everyone's trying to take over the DJing. We're having a great time, and I'm so excited. Finally, Mattia shows up, and she's like, "Wow, you're the most social guy I've ever met." And I'm like, "I love making friends." And I'm so amped up and riding this wave that we went to a nightclub, and she was like, "I'll be able to get us in, yada yada." And there's 39 other people behind us, being like, "We're never gonna get in." And I'm like, "Don't worry about it." And Mattia's like, "All right, they will let us in. Do you want a table?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they were like, "Just give him your credit card." And I was like, "No problem." And I handed the guy my credit card. Dude, 5 G's. End of the night. We were
Those
buying.
countries are so expensive.
We were buying the it was the rosé champagne, and you know what? It
Big
was
boy.
completely worth it.
Definitely.
Some of the best money I've ever spent. I just
You made
fed. I
pals.
was pouring champagne down the throats of all these people that I thought were my friends that never spoke to me again. It was so great. And then later that night, we went to McDonald's and ordered 20-piece chicken McNuggets, and then I went home with Mattia and we had sex.
You made love to Mattia.
Yeah. And meanwhile, NFL playoff games were happening. Oh no, yeah. It was January. Playoff games were happening, and I placed a bunch of bets and won all of them.
Oh, it's great.
I went like 5 for 5.
Oh, it's great.
Thanks to Cam Newton. I remember like pulled
that's
me
fantastic.
through this crazy parlay. So all this stuff, and I found out at like 7 in the morning because it was, the games ended at whatever, like 11
hours
p.m. or something, the 8 p.m. game. So I remember it was like the best weekend ever.
That's fantastic.
And I crushed my sets. So
It's great.
yeah, very fun.
Dude, great. That pregame sounded even more and more like the Murray Hill scenario once we're talking about Swedish House Mafia.
Yeah.
Like, literally.
Yeah. Don't you worry, child.
I wanna know your name.
Yeah. And dude, we would pull down like a fucking full-length mirror to do cocaine. It wasn't some Beauty and the Beast handheld number. It was like, take that thing off the closet door, put it on the ping pong table, and let's just parse out.
That's great, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, isn't it funny? Like, Scandinavian people are so hot, but then the kicker is their like goofy accent. You're like, oh, hey, I'm Francis. And they're like, hello, Francis. Like, what? What the fuck is that? Like, why are you talking like that?
Yeah, it's not sexy.
Dude,
It's
I remember
not sexy.
I was with my friend Zach when I was in Norway, and we were joking because there was a magazine about dogs called Hund. And it was just a picture of a dog, Hund. we made some friends at the comedy club. We were joking about how fucking stupid that sounds, and then they're like, you want to know how to say puppy? And I was like, yeah, and they were like, it's valp. So this girl told me it was valp. So then she told me how to say like I have a puppy. It was like something like da-da-da valp, right?
Yeah.
So then we were going into a nightclub, and there were these gigantic bouncers, and we're about to go in, and she goes, tell them what you learned. And I go, oh, I learned valp. And the guy just goes, aw. And opened the gate to me and let me in. I was like, where the fuck am I, dude? It was so crazy, dude.
Valp.
Valp.
Yeah, and what does the valp say? Woof, woof,
Yeah.
woof. The valp goes, woof. Yeah, it's adorable. Yeah.
So goofy, dude. So stupid. So goofy, man. Fucking Scandinavians, dude.
Oh,
That's
man.
good. That's good stuff.
Well, we tried to see if Daniel Simonson wanted to come on the pod. He's a fantastic comedian, but he said he wants to save his thoughts for the stage.
I can't come on the podcast.
Yeah, he's a Puritan. I respect that.
I love that guy. He's
Yeah.
a good guy.
Very funny. So wow, that's great, dude.
Scandinavia.
Yeah.
Dude, I worked out this morning. You know,
good
not
for
to brag,
you.
not
I'm
to
impressed.
brag. Thank you. But I hate in a fucking workout class.
I know where you're going.
Really? All right, we'll see. But what I'm thinking is when there's a person in the class who needs help.
Not where I thought you were going.
Anyway, the instructor goes over and starts helping them, and then I can tell that they have stopped counting.
Oh.
Because they're like, all right, we're going to be here for 20 seconds.
Mhm.
And then they go start helping the person.
Yeah.
And then they stop counting.
Yeah.
And I can tell that they're not counting. I'm like, this fucking sucks. And then they're like, okay, 12. I'm like, we've been doing this 15 fucking seconds.
Yeah, and just because that moron over there was drowning in their own shit
Exactly.
doesn't mean that the rest of us have to sync with them.
It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
One of the most
That's frustrating. You know what else I don't like?
What?
When I get partnered with the pregnant woman who's trying to prove a point.
Oh my God.
You're like, lady, you're 8 months pregnant. You should be home enjoying the fact that you and your babe, you're eating meals for 2 right now.
yeah.
And yet you're here stair stepping, wearing a weight vest around your belly. That's 10
Literally.
pounds. And not only that, oh my God, they're the most encouraging person. They are always the person who, after every exercise, wants to high five you.
Oh, God.
And you're like, don't fucking high five me. I'm not proud of me. I'm just getting through this.
That's bad.
I've been partnered with the pregnant lady before. I've had a couple different pregnant ladies, actually. One in a Barry's class, one in a fitting room I like.
There's so much shitty things about. First of all, like you have to, when you're doing like crunches with a medicine ball, like when you throw the medicine ball at her, you need to make sure you're not throwing it at her stomach. Like you have to be careful. And also, like her being encouraging, is she like, we can do this because there's 3 of you.
Yes, it's 2-on-1, right?
Let's go. We can do this. Shut the fuck up, lady. Go home. Aren't you like supposed to be taking time off?
Yeah, and not that there's. I totally support women who are pregnant. I guess, if you want to exercise and be healthy, that's great, whatever. But, you don't need to be leading the charge. They're leading the charge.
Yeah, dude.
But what the other thing I was going to say, though, is in the exercise class, I don't like high-fiving people after
I hate
each
it
thing.
too.
We're not in this together. We are each doing this. We each paid $35. We're not on a team. Okay. I want you to focus on yourself, get through your own shit, but I'm not proud of you. And you asking me for a high five is, I don't want to touch you.
Yeah, it's cringe, dude. Or like when people cheer in like a spinning class, they're like, woo, let's go.
Yeah.
Shut up, dude.
And the instructors will tell you to high five your partner or the people around you in your group. The other thing is, if you have to group up in a group of 4, people start introducing themselves. And you're like, we're only going to be doing this for 5 minutes. We don't need to know each other's fucking names.
Oh, God.
Let's just remain in anonymity here. I've played enough team sports. If you miss that part of your life, go join a co-ed league.
Yeah,
Zog sports league.
Totally. If you need camaraderie.
Yeah.
This is about sweating. Dude, spinning is so cringe. Like the first 5 minutes of the class, I'm just laughing. Because it's just like filled with older women who are all bouncing at the same time. Dude, there's some hoes in this house. There's some hoes. And it's so, I just literally start laughing. I'm like, this is so stupid. I'm such a loser. And I couldn't just bike outside. Yeah. Which you choose to do.
I do choose to do. City Bike just brought back their electric bikes that they accelerate them for you.
Oh my God, what?
Fly, dude. You touch the pedal even a tiny bit and you just...
Can you turn that feature off?
Well, there are some bikes that have it and some that don't.
Is there a way to tell?
Yeah, they have like a motor on them. You can see it. So you can opt for it. And they're much more fun, but you do get charged a slight upcharge. It's like 10 cents a mile or something.
Interesting.
So
I fucked up this week. I pranked my friend and he did not think it was funny. And I thought this was a home run, hilarious prank. My friend and I who chose to do it, we're laughing our ass off for months about this. So on the back of his car, we put a bumper sticker that said, "Warning, driver may be jerking off." And we put it on the car. It was there for like 2 weeks and he didn't even notice. And the best part about this is in the interim, he lives in the city, so he doesn't drive his car. I borrowed his car twice. So I was the one driving around with the bumper sticker on the car. Anyway, he finally finds out and he, like, in a fit of rage, just tries to rip it off the bumper and fucked up the paint on his car. And he flipped his shit at me, dude.
Wow.
It's like the most angry he's ever gotten at me. I felt so terrible. But like, now let me ask you a question. Should it be common knowledge to just Google it and be like, how to remove bumper sticker?
Well,
or I shouldn't have done it to begin with, I'm realizing.
No, I look, that is a totally harmless prank.
Right? Thank you.
And him flipping out and then trying to rip the sticker off as opposed to trying to peel it and get it started speaks to his inability to take a joke. That's a poor reaction. That's not on you.
Ricky told me, he's like, dude, he's not going to think this is funny. Ricky's friends with him too. And I was like, how? This is so funny, dude. And he's like, I know. It's like we were dying, but he's like, dude, he's not going to think it's funny. And he really was mad. And I had to take the car in for him and
get it painted?
Well, he had other things he had to do to it. And I think he realized that we weren't trying to fuck his car up, and so
No.
he kind of like stepped his tone back. I brought the car in for him as, a sign of good faith. Hopefully it won't be.
Dude, there are pranks that are happening right now, like the TikTok skull breaker challenge.
What's that?
It's this thing where kids are in a group of 3 standing in a line. They tell their friend in the middle, we're all going to jump on 3, right? And for the picture or whatever. And then the guy's like, oh, okay, hold on. And then the people on the outside are like, all right, we're going to show you how to do it. And they jump first, right? They jump up. And then the guy in the middle is like, oh, okay, I got it. And then they're like, all right, 1, 2, 3. And then the guy in the middle jumps. And then the people on the outside don't jump, and they kick his legs out.
Oh my God.
And he falls backwards, and people are getting concussed. People are cracking their skulls. And it's the most vicious shit I've ever seen.
That is horrible.
And that, compared to putting a funny bumper sticker on someone's car, yours is fine, theirs is not.
Dude,
Let's keep perspective here.
yeah, no, 100%. Thank you. I appreciate it. Dude, this is making me think of one of the best pranks I ever pulled in high school. A friend of mine, this kid, Chris Bull. He's a great kid, Chris Bull. He asked me to proofread his essay.
Chris Bull.
Chris Bull.
Doesn't sound like a real person at
Chris
all.
Bull. I swear to God, it's his name. He's Korean too. I think he's adopted. Chris Bull.
Okay.
Anyway, so Chris Bull, he had this essay. So he's like, can you proofread it? I was like, sure. So this is when you wrote your essays in the blue books.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm reading through it, and just as a joke, I added a sentence at the end because I knew he wasn't going to reread it. And it said, and we'll just call her Mrs. Johnson. But I wrote, Mrs. Johnson has nice tits.
Oh.
Closed it. Great essay, man. He handed it in. A week later, he sits at the table. He's laughing. He's like, dude, who the fuck wrote this? It's just circled in red. Talk to me after class. Oh, God, dude. That
I
kills
just
me.
love that it's probably a fucking report on like To Kill a Mockingbird. And the last sentence before that was like, in summation, Scout learned the lessons of adolescence through her proximity to racism, the teachings of her father, and the wonderful tutelage of Boo Radley. Mrs. Johnson has nice tits.
Oh, God. Chris Bull. Sorry, dude. That was just too fucking good. I loved that one.
Did you get in trouble?
No, because I didn't say shit, dude. I didn't fess up to that. I just laughed.
Yeah,
I
but
was
why,
like, oh.
how did Chris Bull get out of being in trouble for that?
It was likely he was probably like, I didn't write that.
Yeah, so he didn't write it, and then the teacher's like, well, who did?
It was probably long enough before that he forgot about like me reading it. Maybe someone else read it too.
See, that's the kind of thing I did get in big trouble for.
For doing shit
That
like
got
that.
called home to my parents.
Oh, wow.
Did you get in trouble a lot when you were growing up?
I would get bad comments because I talked too much in class, but that was pretty much it.
I got in trouble a lot, even though I was a very good student, but I got in trouble a lot, and it would kill me. I got in trouble. It's not like I was looking for trouble. I wasn't some rabble-rousing, ne'er-do-well, fringe kid that everyone thought was going to drop out.
Right.
I just couldn't keep my shit together. One time, we were playing Capture the Flag in gym class, and I was in the safety zone, and Maddie McQuinn said that
These fucking kids in your
I was
school.
too much of a coward to come out and challenge for the flag, and I told her that the only way she could get me to come out of the safety zone was if she pulled me out by my penis.
Oh, God.
And then she and Hillary Hall immediately marched to Mrs. Green, who was the referee, and told her what had happened. And I had to go to Kathy Remmel's office, the principal, right? And I didn't even know what I was in there for. I was like, what happened? What is happening right now? And I'm not kidding you, in marched 5 girls. And they were like friends of mine. They were girlfriends of mine. So in marched these 5 girls, and they all sit around the table. And I remember as they're filing in, I went, what the hell is this? What is this? And Kathy Rimmel goes, Francis, quiet. And then she went around the table and asked every one of the girls, how it made them feel when I told Maddie McQuinn she'd have to pull me out by my penis. What does that even mean? An elephant walk? Like, give me a break, right? And all the girls were like, and they couldn't look at me because they were such fucking hoes. And they were like, well,
you clearly didn't learn your lesson.
I personally, I learned these hoes ain't loyal. I learned, so one of them was like, well, I honestly felt kind of hurt when I learned that Francis said that, because Fran, I like you so much. I'm like, bitch, we're over. The only person who deserved to be in there was Maddie McQuinn at most. And even then it's like, all right, we'll grow up a little bit, right? But to have brought in 4 proxies to fucking back her up, I ended up getting community service hours from the principal. And that entailed my parents had to come in and
Is she
meet
even
with us.
allowed to assign those to you?
Dude, but it wasn't like I had to go to the soup kitchen. I had to go to our library on campus and dust bookshelves. So I had to eat it. I missed 3, like open periods.
Gotcha.
To go do that. That was like one of many. In 5th grade, I stole Charlie Thaxton's Charizard hologram out of his backpack, and then everyone freaked out. And then I went down to the bathroom down the hall and then pretended that I'd found it in the trash can. And I was like, I got it, guys. And everyone was like, oh, I can't believe someone tried to ditch it. Wow. And then my teacher, Bob Olney, was like, come on, Francis. I find it a little suspicious. Everyone's looking for the card. Somehow you miraculously produce it from a trash can in the boys' bathroom, which we all know is typically filled with tissues. And I was like, I don't know what to say. It was sparkly. That's why I saw it. And ended up having to get called home for parents for that. One time I got into a fist fight with Nelson Bruns. We were vying for the title of strongest boy in class because Glennie Hill had a thermos that she couldn't open and was like, can anyone open this for me? And everyone was like, tell Francis to do it. He's the strongest kid. And Nelson was like, I can do it. And Nelson opened it and everyone was like, well, maybe Nelson's the strongest kid. And I was like, I'll fucking tell you who's the strongest kid. It's me. And we started this fight in recess. These were the things, man. These were moments where they always came home to my parents, and it would crush me.
Did you confess to the Charizard thing?
Yeah, ultimately I had to. Should have thought of a better way out of that.
Deny, dude. But I mean, you don't know that as a kid, especially if you have nice parents.
I couldn't spin webs of lies when I was a child as well as I can now. That's a true skill that you have to learn. You start to think, you watch enough, legal shows, prosecutorial shows that you start to understand how to defend yourself better. I wish 5th grade me could lie the way that I can now, because I would have gotten out of a lot more trouble. By the way, last thought I have, sniffles are the new MAGA hat.
That's hilarious.
Did you see that Curb episode?
No, that was the
where
thing?
Larry starts wearing a MAGA hat so that when he goes to like restaurants, people won't sit next to him.
Oh, that's great.
To get space from people and not have to talk to people.
That's really funny.
Right? And blowing your nose or coughing, people get away from you right now.
That's really interesting.
You don't even have to actually do it. Just take out a tissue. Everyone moves away. I was in a packed coffee shop yesterday. Had my laptop out. People kept coming into tables around me, dude. I started coughing a little bit, like for real. And people got up and left.
That's fucked up.
It was awesome.
Dude, that just made me think that could be another great prank. Just you get a fake bat. You're just eating a bat on the subway platform.
Is Ozzy Osbourne patient zero, by the way? Like, how many knows? Nobody's put that together.
He's immune.
Well, guys, this has been Oops the Podcast. G, where can we find you?
Well, April 28th, I'm taping for Netflix at the Netflix Comedy Festival.
Unbelievable.
Los Angeles. Thank you.
This guy, Netflix man.
Thank you. It's going to be at the Avalon, part of the Netflix is a Joke Comedy Festival. So if you're out there and you can get tickets, come through.
That is so sick, dude.
Thanks,
fucking
man.
Congrats, man.
Thank you.
I will be at well, you can see a bunch of my dates coming up on my Instagram and on my website at francisellis.com. New Mexico, Wise Guys, Salt Lake City, and Hartford, Connecticut, and some other spots. So come check those out. And as always, follow Oops the Podcast on Instagram. Send us your mistakes. And we appreciate you guys very much. Talk to you soon.